change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come. Change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come.
Yeah, change coming fast. Days running past, we made runners ablaze and stay numbered last. The pain that we display, you can't understand. That's why we move with the faith of David Abraham. We tryna pace where the apes be. Keys like HP, curses live at HD. Women chasing clout and brothers changing their faces. Screaming, oh God, send your son to save us.
So tired of all the pain. Seen all my people in it. Cause living day to day is hard to face. Know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come. Yeah, it's time for a change to come to my people. Cause Lord knows that we ain't treated equal. 400 years of the same old ish. Rape, rob, kill and spoil, getting off the shit. Now check it, can barely wait for that day to come. Getting ready for that war, time to beat the drum. And to the ones trying to hold me back with bent up faces, just call me Master Eddie, trading places.
Change gon' come, and it's coming fast. I know change gon' come, cause this world won't last. I know it's so much hurt, and it's so much pain. But when them cherries come, just know the world gon' change. Why my people cry, cause they tired of lies. That's why we face the east, pray to your how it shine. Cause change gon' come, prophecy says that change gon' come. Yeah.
So tired of all the pain. Seen all my people in it. Cause living day to day is hard to face. Know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come.
Look, we've been trying to get up out of this, but we've been too busy worshiping some nonsense. Jesus. We want change to happen real quick, but we are stiff-necked people and we don't give a shit. All women all up on Instagram, shaking and twerking their ass like they don't give a damn. And if we really want change, we gotta open our book and be baptized again. We gotta change.
So tired of all the pain. Seen all my people in it. Cause living day to day is hard to face. Know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come.
Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the scripts that change gon' come.
Call me Little Bo Beep, I'm out here shining. For the lost sheep, I'm out here grinding. I ain't talking cheese, I'm out here mining. Looking for diamonds, kingdom business, I'm mining. Trying to wake you up from the lullaby rhyming. Devil can't touch this heat, pantomiming. He is a liar, so said the lion Judah. Shelter in my protector, running to him, be faster than a puma. Holy is a wave, repping the ancient of days. Christ is the big
us to shine, they them daughters. We're here now, all in steam to the most high. It's our time. Put your garment off for the showdown. Repent now, ain't no salvation from the Z-seats. The kingdom is here, and it's all up in your mouth.
Yeah. What you crying for? What you complaining about? Breathe. No, seriously, take a breath. How many people want to do that? They can't. Walk outside. Some people ain't got freedom. They ain't gonna never see the light of day. You know what I mean? I can't front, I do it too. I need somebody to check me. I need you to edify me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thankful for being alive.
I am so thankful for being alive. Today was a good day. I opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I woke up today. So many can't say the same. I can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for being alive.
Yeah. Don't quit, you just hit a bump in the road. You detoured when you thought you had it under control. Whether you winning or losing, you stuck with your soul. Focus on eternity, happiness comes and it goes. Praying you'll see a miracle when they right under your nose. Today you woke up and your heart was beating, and you started breathing. Just for you, I made this one for the road. This for the car when you on the way to that job that you hate. You want to keep the feast days, but it's hard to escape. Yo, they requested you on the Sabbath, now you about to quit. It's like with every commandment, they want the opposite. Meanwhile, you staying positive, you need a job to live. A couple questions to settle that. Like, would the Father have us living check to check? Subject to payments buried by several debts. I'm thankful for this life, but I pray heaven's next.
I'm thankful for being alive. Today was a good day. I opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I woke up today. So many can't say the same. I can't complain. I'm thankful for being alive.
Yeah. I know why I'm living. My purpose is serving others. Never despise the Father's correction. I learned to love it. Carnal minds don't want the truth. They want their version of it. Worldly riches are temporal. I noticed them turning colors. His treasures are never tarnished. Started to study harder. It made me a better artist. They asking me what's your secret. He fed you manna from heaven. You want to run to Egypt? Toting choppers like, am I really my brother's keeper? You are if you love your people. We living like kamikaze ambulances, cops and sirens. When we gon' stop the violence? Quote the scripture, it's an aqua salad. I can sing a song that'll calm the climate. Don't just talk about it, we walk about it. The covenant, our fathers forgot it. We remember now it's a door for the sheep to enter. Believe on Christ and you gon' be saved. I'ma keep it simple. Get that Holy Spirit in you and keep it in.
I am so thankful for being alive. Today was a good day. I opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I woke up today. So many can't say the same. I can't complain. I'm thankful for being alive. I am so thankful for being alive. Today was a good day. I opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I woke up today. So many can't say the same. I can't complain. I'm thankful for being alive. Yeah.
AnointedHOS.
Royalty. Royalty. Power to the chosen people. Bible in my hand, word inside my heart, and pain before my eyes. Broken people wanting to believe in something, looking for a lie, trying to find the truth. But we give them doubt, saying we do something we don't. Hurting people, saying we do things that we won't. Wolf in sheep's clothing with a cross on his chest. Taking people money, promising to be blessed. But power to the chosen people, who at one point wasn't viewed as an equal. His own chosen people, royal priesthood. Yeah. So that you've been called out of the darkness into the marvelous light. Do you know who you are? Royalty. Yeah. Once we weren't the people, now we are the people. Do you know who you are? Royalty. 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 Yeah. Royal, royal. Royalty. Royalty. Kings and queens. Royal, royal. Hey. Royalty. Yeah. Would you give them everything? Would you let them call you those things if you knew you were a queen? And my brother, would you be out there risking your life for green paper if you knew you had it all already? If you knew you were a king? Well, the best I can offer is to tell you the truth. Mercy changed everything for me and you, but they don't really tell us what we do need to know. First Peter 2:6, a pleasure for sure. So power to the chosen people, who at one point wasn't viewed as an equal. His own chosen people, a royal priesthood. Hey. Say that you were called out of the dark into the marvelous light. Do you know who you are? Royalty. Yeah. Once we weren't the people, mercy made us a people. Now we are the people.
AnointedHOS.
Ones of such talent. You know? Speak life. Live a humble and meek life. Ordinary day of the week life. Try to search and seek life. Way up, keep your head up and stay up. Even when you're sore and pain up, never giving up till it's game up. Keep your aim up and focus. Don't concentrate on what's bogus. Never sell out for a bonus. Handle your biz like grown-ups. Own up, it's amazing. The wage of fire keeps blazing. That's why you're constantly praising. For some of them it's a face thing. So they're gazing on the street lights till them go catch up in street fights. 'Cause I'm pretending they're streetwise and put an end to a brief life. I feel like
My brother straight from the throne. We built the altar with the unhewn stones. Roam through the city, all we seeing is these bones. So my face like flint till I wake a couple souls. A prophet hated by his own, so the father sent his son to bring the tribes of Jacob home. Jumping through these traps, cause they trying to see us gone. But we walking through the fire just like Daniel and his bros. From every sheep to her zone, we stay inside the book because the book is all we own. Heritage and you better hold it on. We like David fighting giants with no armor and a stone. We face east as a car home. We face east just to call home. We can't sleep till we all home. We won't rest till they all gone. So I guess that we be calling out they all bones. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make it Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the side the king. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make it Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the side the king. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim. From better sheep to the books in Greek, the dragon took the sheep. Man, the book complete. The father looked for peace, but we shook the beast. Now we up until our power put the hook in cheek. Shema, Yasha Allah, Abanawa, Yahweh, Ahad. He the tower till he give us the power of God. Though in the tower you will never devour a tribe. The Lord despised all you devils, your hours arrive. Bless the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. We trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the sea. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim. Bless the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. Trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the sea. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim.
Hey, shalom, 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 Israel. All right. Hey, Shabbat shalom. Most High in Christ to all of y'all, man. Right. Hey, I pray that y'all having a blessed week this week. Right. The spirits is out this week. We got to stay girded up and keep our loins girded, man, because these demons coming at us from every side this week, man. We're going to put some prayers up. Y'all do that. Step away when you can this morning or after the class. Step away, put some prayers up for the brothers and the sisters that's going through it this week. I know my family, I'm out of town this weekend right now because we got some things going on in the family as well. So, hey, just continue to pray for your brethren. Continue to pray that the Most High strengthens us in this captivity, which is kind of what we're going to go into. We're going to talk about the Sabbath. We're going to talk about the rest. We're going to try to understand what work is. But we also going to understand that when you in this captivity, man, it's not as smooth as you want it to be. But the Most High has given you the grace and the ability to overcome any obstacles that you may face, right? So we're going to move forward in that spirit. And Most High willing, we can get this kingdom together, right? I'm going to go ahead and shout some people out. Hey, Shalom Zephaniah, first one in the building. Brother Boaz, Benyamin, Kadar Aharon, Captain Yahawada, Kodash, HOS Nak, Shemaiah, Nadiyah, Keziah, Aaron Israel, Sister Azaniah, Aisha Thompson, Maya Brooks, Abaya the Humble, James Collier, I think I already said Zanaya, and Sister Ayasha Shalom. All All right. Hey, so all praises to the Most High, man. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long this morning. We actually gonna get into something that me and the brothers was discussing either last week or the week before that. I can't really remember which one it was. But we was dealing with the term the Sabbath and rest, right? I mean, it's not necessarily 100% clear what rest is in the scriptures. We know what you can't do. We know a couple of things that you should be able to do and you should be striving to do on the Sabbath. But it's not necessarily you're not gonna be able to open up a page and say, you may do this, you may not do this. But when you do this, as long as this is happening, all of those stipulations are not necessarily clear. We got to kind of pull that out. But that's why the scripture says what? Meditate on these precepts day and night. Speak about them when you sit with your children, when you rise up, when you lie down, and when you walk by the way. All right. These are the reasons that we have to meditate so that we can dig deep and get to the meat and potatoes of what the law, statutes, and commandments is trying to tell us to do. All right. Y'all put some sevens in the chat. If I'm clear, I keep getting a little signal thing. So if anything happens to my connection, we'll stop, right? We'll regroup and keep going. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I only got like 25 precepts, right? But we know the way Israel teaches, 25 precepts could be a long time. So we're gonna try to get through it, all right? We're gonna try to get through it. All praises. There go the sevens. Hey, shalom to Sister Gabriella in the chat as well. Shalom, sis. All right. So I want to make sure I ain't miss nobody. Hey, y'all make sure if you have not already RSVP to the Passover, send that in. AnointedHOS at gmail.com. Get your spot reserved. All right. Because we got to do the seating chart. We got to make sure that everybody is accommodated for. We got to have enough food. The sisters is doing a great job about that in the background. So, hey, want to give a hearty the water to all the sisters that's doing that as well, right? Hey, that's right. Hey, brother Yahweh to know what time it is. Like I said, when you say only in the Israelite community, we already know what time it is, right? Get your extra notepad ready. We already know that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get started, right? I'm going to start off with 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 39 because I want to highlight a key principle here. We are not able to fully observe the law, statutes, and commandments the way we would like to. We are able to do our best and to be diligent in serving the Lord. Let me say that one more time. We are not able to keep the law, statutes, and commandments the way that we would like to, but we are able to serve the Lord in diligence, okay? And do our best according to the measure of faith that was given unto us. And we're going to get that precept, all right? So I'm going to start with 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 39, right? Or Salakia, chapter 1 and verse 39, all right? 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 39. And it reads, her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. You see, that's where we at right now. Our city was destroyed. Everything was turned into a desolate wilderness. And that's a separate study. I think we kind of touched on that before when I did that Daniel study. So go back and watch that for the understanding of what we mean by the wilderness. But the sanctuary in our city was turned into a wilderness, right? It's not upholding and maintaining its former glory. But let's keep reading because it says in verse 39 one more time, her feasts were turned into mourning and her Sabbaths into reproach. That's what we're going to focus on. That's what we're going to focus on. Your Sabbaths have been turned into reproach among the heathen, right? We not able to fully shalom to Kana Yasha Allah, shalom, right? We not fully able to really bring the Sabbath out the way we want to. because our Sabbaths have been turned to reproach. Let me get you a precept. Let's go to Genesis. Let's start exploring where the Sabbath started, what the Most High was doing during this Sabbath. Then we're going to go into the Hebrew word, right? So let's get Genesis 2 and 1, and I'm going to read down through 3 so that we can all get the understanding of what's going on. So we know that Genesis chapter 1 is the creation, days 1 through 6, right? Verses 1 through 3 is a continuation of that same context. When you go in and we did a class called The Structure of the Torah, right? That'll be a main channel class one day after I perfect it. But we kind of went through that, and the context of chapter 1 in Genesis bleeds into chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, right? And it says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, the Most High ended his work, remember that word, which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work, which he had made. And the Most High blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all his work, which the Most High created and made." So he said it 3 times for you, in case you slow, right? He rested from the work that he made. Let's think about this. Now, we know the Most High don't get tired. We know the Most High don't need to sit down in a chair and catch his breath, drink a glass of water to rejuvenate his spirit. We don't believe that. We understand that the Most High resting from his work means that he stopped doing that type of work on this particular day. But let's be practical here. The Most High set the sun in his circuit. The Most High set the moon in his circuit. The Most High set up the stars. All of those things have ordinances. He set up the trees. He set up the wind. He set up the waters. He set up all these things on the earth, and they continue to operate on the Shabbat. But the Most High himself ceased from his work on the seventh day. So that's something we got to think about. Right? But we're going to come back to that. Let me get the Hebrew word for work. Somebody put this in the chat if you get a chance. It's H4399. It's the word melakah. Melakah. That's the word work. You find that same word melakah in Genesis 2 and 2. You find it in Exodus 20, the 10 Commandments. And you find it multiple other places throughout the scripture. The word melakah is the word work. All right. I'm going to pin this up here. Tawada Banyamin. All right. And Tawada y'all for scribing as well. So this is the word work that we're looking at. You can Google that. Just Google that number right there. H4399 Strong's. Hit the Google button. Right. So when that word comes up, what you're going to realize is that, and I got a screenshot here, so I'm going to read off the screenshot. Bear with me. All right. So what you're going to realize is that when you scroll down to the NASB translations in Bible Hub or the terms of usage, it's going to say occupation, work, anything made, business, industrious, labor, material, occupation, perform, project, property. It's a large, there you go. There's a very large catalog of meanings that this can be translated into when you bring it into the English. So now we got to do the laborious work of breaking that word down and understanding what it means. But we're going to also go through in this lesson and tell you what it does not mean. We know that work cannot mean certain things based on the biblical record. All right. So let's get into it. Let's jump to Ezekiel 40 and verse 1. So this is a vision of Ezekiel seeing the final temple. There's ways to break this down, but we're not going to go all into depth into the actual prophecy right now. We're just dealing with the Sabbath portion. So Ezekiel chapter 40 and verse 1, in the 25th year of our captivity. So he is in the land of captivity. In the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, And all of my Torah scholars should understand what that is. First month of the year, 10th day of the month. Does anybody understand what's important about the 10th day of the first month? The 10th day of the month of Abib. Right? We coming up on the Passover, so y'all need to know this. What is important about the 10th day of the first month? If you know, put it in the chat. If you don't, we're just going to keep rolling. All right? That's a different class. But notice that Ezekiel, there you go. Hey, Araya to see us. Shalom, shalom. Yabashim Yam Shabrakatah. Hey, that's right. We're gonna choose the lamb that we're gonna use for the Passover. You're gonna separate that lamb from the rest of the herd. It's gonna be over here in a separate field by itself, chilling. And then on the 14th, you're gonna grab that lamb, and that's gonna be the Passover lamb, right? The 10th day of the first month, right? There you go. Set the lamb apart. All right, they starting to roll in. All praises to the Most High. So Ezekiel is in the land of captivity on that day, right? And this is very important. This is very important for the lesson that we're teaching. Why is it that particular day? Because that is an ordinance that Ezekiel shall follow, right? Man, I'm supposed to be choosing my lamb today, man, right? But it's the 25th year of captivity. So you think he's choosing the lamb right now? Do you believe that Ezekiel's in the land of captivity choosing the lamb, man? La'ah. And guess what? That's where you find yourself. You find yourself in the land of captivity, not able to choose your lamb, not able to bring it to the altar, not able to present it to the priest, not able to do X, Y, and Z. Because the children of Israel shall spend many days without a king and without a prince and without an ephod, right? Hey, all praises to the Most High. So these are the things that captivity presents. These are the issues that captivity presents. Keep that in your mind when judging on what is lawful and what is not lawful on the Sabbath day. Keep that in mind. All right, let's keep reading Ezekiel 40:1. So it says, in the 5 and 20th year of the captivity, in the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after the city was smitten, in the selfsame day, the hand of the Lord was upon me and brought me thither. Now, I brought you there just to give you the context. Let's jump over to 41. Ezekiel 41 and verse 1. Right? We're going to keep building the context till we get to the verses we want. So the next thing Ezekiel sees in 41 and 1 is this. Afterward, he brought me to the temple and measured the posts, 6 cubits broad on the one side and 6 cubits broad on the other side, which was the breadth of the tabernacle. Okay, so now Ezekiel is at the temple. In that same vision, the Most High put his hand upon him, put him in the spirit instantly. Now Ezekiel is in front of the temple, seeing spiritual visions about the temple. All right, chapter 45 and verse 1. Moreover, when you shall divide the land by lot for an inheritance, you shall offer an oblation unto the Lord, a holy portion of the land. The length shall be the length of 25,000 reeds, and the breadth shall be 10,000. Right? I'm going to skip the end of that verse, but the point of reading that is to show you that now he's talking about when you divide the land for an inheritance. Key points again. All right. Now let's jump over to Ezekiel 46 and verse 1 and let's make these points. All right. So Ezekiel 46 and 1, thus says the Lord God. Now remember, he's seeing the temple in a vision and he's in the land of his captivity, but the Most High is showing him a vision. So that means that the temple that he's seeing is not the physical temple in Jerusalem. So anybody who says, nah, Ezekiel's seeing a physical temple, he can't be, because it was 14 years after the temple was destroyed. We read that. And he's physically in the land of his captivity, but the Lord in the spirit teleported Ezekiel to be standing right in front of the temple, and these are the things that he saw, right? So Ezekiel chapter 46 and 1, thus says the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east shall be shut 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be open, And in the day of the new moon, it shall be open. So number one thing we see from this is that the Sabbath day and the new moon days are very significant. They have end time prophecy implications, right? And as we keep reading this passage, we're going to see exactly what you're going to be doing and exactly what Hamashiach Yahushua is going to be doing at the temple in the last days. Let's keep reading. And the prince, somebody tell me in the chat who the prince is. When we dealing with prophecy, who is the prince? That last song we played before the class started is called Mashak Nagid, right? Mashak Nagid is a term taken from Daniel chapter 9 about the anointed prince. The anointed prince. The word Nagid was translated as prince there, but it could also be governor, ruler, a lot of different titles, because the Hebrew and the English ain't necessarily perfect translations, but we got very good translations to understand what's going on, right? So the word Mashak Nagid is anointed prince. Well, what does the word prince mean? Okay, so Kazakia said Yahushua. Yahushua is that prince. But I want to know what the term prince refers to. And I'm going to pull a precept for you to help you out. All right? I'm going to get it here so I don't lose it in my paper Bible. Let's get Hosea chapter 1. No, Salaki. It's going to be... Let me get it here. Hold on. Make sure I call it right. Destroy, it says... Afterward. Okay, here we go. This is Hosea chapter 3 and verse 4, right? So Zaniah said Yahushua as well. Uriah said the prince is the son of the king, right? Look at that. The prince is the son of the king. So if the prince is the son of the king, he's a very important figure, right? He's an heir. Okay, yeah. Now y'all getting spiritual. This is a whole separate lesson what y'all doing right now, right? Let's read Hosea chapter 3 and 4. That's beautiful. Hosea chapter 3 and 4 says, for the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king and without a prince, which you're about to read after that verse or after that word prince is going to tell you who the prince is. When you go into the Hebrew Bible, which we call the Tanakh, the Torah, the writings, and the prophets, all of these are the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, actually. But when we go into all of these things, we'll understand that the word prince is interchangeable for priest. Now, if we're talking about the anointed priest, we got to be speaking about the high priest, right? Because the high priest was anointed to take his position, right? And we know that Hamashiach Yahushua was anointed as well, right? So yes, he is the son of the king. He is the heir. But the word specifically I'm looking for is priest. Now let me read Hosea 3 and 4. The children of Israel shall abide many days without a king and without a prince and without a sacrifice. You're not going to have a sacrifice because you don't have a priest. And without an image and without an ephod. You're not going to have an ephod because you don't have a priest. And without teraphim, right? And we know that teraphim is household gods because our people went off into idolatry. And the Most High said, you want to be idolatrous now? Cool. You're going to lose the idols that you serving. You're going to go to another land and serve idols that your fathers and your mothers never seen before, right? Right, that's right. Abaya said, and Shalom says, if I didn't say Shalom, but a prince is next in line to being the king or ruling a royal kingdom. That's right. That's right. So all of these things are true. Now, let's focus on the priest aspect. And I want to go back to Ezekiel 46, verse 2, and focus on the priest aspect of that word prince right here. And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without. Which gate are we talking about? Let's slow down a little bit. So you got the outer gate of the city of Jerusalem. The outer courts is what they called it. The outer courts is where the common man can come. The inner courts is where business is taken care of, right? The inner courts is inside where the priest would be, is where the altar would be at. I wish I had a diagram, but I don't. It's where the altar, the laver to wash your hands and your feet. We're inside the inner courts now, and no common man can come. So no Gentiles can step foot there. No stranger can serve in this place, right? Hey, that's right. The east gate, we're going to deal with that. All praises, right? And let's read verse 2 again. And the priest shall enter in by the porch of that gate, so by the east gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate. And the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings. So the priests that are serving, we understand that the Levites will be serving the Most High God in the final days by Shema Mashiach Yahushai, man. And we look forward to that, right? The priests and the Levites will be serving the Most High God in the last days. But guess what? They will be serving the Lord under the prince, because the prince is the high priest. When you go into the Hebrew, they call him the Kahan Gadol, right? Kahan Gadol. I'm going to put that in the chat for y'all. Kahan Gadol, which is priest great, or great priest, or high priest. All right? Or Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol. All right? So it could be Kahan Gadol or Kohen Gadol. All right? So that's the high priest, and the other priests are working under him. We understand that order. All right? And it says, he shall worship, Salakia, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. So now he's worshiping. Now, this is a cut to the Trinitarian, because every Trinitarian breakdown I've ever seen in life, they have always said the Ezekiel 46, the prince is Yahushai. If the prince is Yahushai in Ezekiel 46 and 2, then how can he be the Most High if he worshiping somebody? That's a cut, right? They doctrine is finished on that alone, right? But the prince shall worship at the threshold of the gate, and he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. We understand why it's shut at the evening, because the day is over with, right? Let's keep going. Verse 3, likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Yahweh in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. This is the significance of the Sabbaths and the new moons. On the spiritual side, if you're standing in front of the temple of the Most High God, that gate going to be open on the Sabbath. That gate going to be open on the new moon. And you better be there, man. Right? So in your spirit right now, when you celebrating your Sabbaths right now, in your spirit, you need to be there. You need to be standing in front of that gate worshiping the Most High, man. Which is going to bring us into the understanding of what work is. Because worship is a work, but that's not prohibited on the Sabbath. So there are certain types of work that are prohibited on the Sabbath. There are certain types of work that are required on the Sabbath. If you're a Levite, you're bringing offerings and burning them on the altar on the Sabbath. We're going to read that. The Levite's job does not change much when it comes to that Sabbath, man. We do also understand that they had courses for the Levites that David set up, and the priests would rotate. And, you know, if it was your course, you would be working at the temple. If it was not your course, you'd be taking care of something else, right? Probably resting on the Sabbath. But that's a different study. Let me read verse 4, and we'll stop here and go to the next point. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto Yahweh in the Sabbath day. You see what I'm saying? He's offering this on the Sabbath day, so he's doing work. But this is not prohibited work. This is work that can be done lawfully. Shall be 6 lambs without blemish and a ram without blemish. All right. Let's jump over. I'm a whole Isaiah 48. Hold on real quick. I want to see what Uriah the Seeker is saying. So he said, and you know what, fam? Hey, we might have to talk off record about this one. All right. The only disagreement I have is the next day starting at evening. So what I'm saying is when evening came, it's still the same day numerically. Hey, we need to talk about that. I'm gonna give you my numbers. We're gonna talk about that. All right. Because when I first started observing the Sabbath, that's how I was doing it. I was keeping the Sabbath from sun up to sun to sun up. All right, and I can definitely rock with you and speak to you off record about that. So that's cool. But as for this lesson, I'm gonna teach it as the way that we understand it, right? And that's from evening to evening, being when the day starts. All right. Let me post my number in here for you, and then just send me a text when you can, and we'll chop it up. All right. So, but anyway, so let's get back to it. So the next point, let's get the foundational principles for the Shabbat real fast, right? Let's get Exodus 20:8. Because it's a little bit of groundwork that got to be laid to understand what's going on. All right. So this is Exodus 20:8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Main word right there is holy. Set apart. Kodash. Right? We want to set this day aside to be a different day than the other days, man. That's the main focus right here. Is that it's a set apart day. When your Sabbath becomes like every other day, it's a problem, right? Because you're supposed to make this like a special day unto the Most High. Let's keep reading. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Melakah, the word we looked up already. But in the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy maidservant, nor thy manservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. All right. Notice there's no reference there to counting it according to the moon. And this, some of our brothers and sisters see the Sabbath being counted according to the new moon, and we're not mad at them. And I'm actually going to go into that on this study as well, why we're not mad at them and why we don't actually have a right to criticize them. We see it the way we see it, and they see it the way they see it. All right, all praises. So let's get Exodus 31:14. Right? So what is the judgment? If we're going to tell somebody this is how you keep the Sabbath, this is how you not keep the Sabbath, what is the judgment for violation? Right? What is the judgment for violation? Exodus 31:14. You shall therefore keep the Sabbath, for it is holy Kodash unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work, Melakah, therein, that soul shall be cut off from among the people. Because remember, if you die, you're cut off from the people. But also, if you're in a situation where I don't have the jurisdiction or what can I say? I don't have the legal ability to put you to death, then I'm just going to cut you off. Either way, we can't deal with you because you're not dealing with the Most High the right way, right? 6 days shall work. 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. So there will never be a time when you are not keeping the Sabbath. That's the precept you need to prove that to family members or whoever. There will never be a time that the Sabbath is not important. Verse 17, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. In the 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. All right. All of that is important. So now we know the judgment for not keeping the Sabbath. We also understand how long we're supposed to keep the Sabbath. Right? Now let's go into some things that and this is probably why y'all watching the video, because there are some things in our community that we wrestle with because we trying to understand, okay, well, can you cook on the Sabbath? Or, you know what I'm saying? Can you, what type of laborious work can you not do on the Sabbath? Can you go to the gym on the Sabbath? Can you take the trash out? X, Y, and Z. These are all the type of things that Israel is wrestling with, trying to figure out, because we are very serious about serving the Most High God in sincerity and truth, right? So we want to know this. Let's go to Exodus 35 and verse 3. And y'all know what this is. We've all seen this precept. But I want to show you something. As we progress through this lesson, you'll see what I'm going to show you. Exodus 35 and verse 3 reads, actually, I'm gonna start at verse 1, right? It's 35. So Exodus 35, 1 through 3. All right. Hey, y'all, what's up? Shalom, shalom. Y'all about Shem Yam Shabbat. All right. There we go. All right. So Exodus 35, and I'm gonna start at 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, these are the words which Yahweh have commanded, that you should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest unto the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. Verse 3, you shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. You shall kindle no fire in your habitations upon the Sabbath day. And we're going to visit that, right? But we're going to keep rolling for now. So I want to make this note. The spirit of the law is important. We talk about this when we talk about law enforcement sometimes, how law enforcement can get the letter of the law and bust you over the head. Hey, that's right, Kadar. That's right. But look, Sabbath, we talk about law enforcement, how law enforcement can take the letter of the law and bust you over the head with it. You doing 5 miles over the speed limit, or you came to a rolling stop at a stop sign, but nobody was there, but he was sitting in the cut just waiting, and you did a rolling stop, and then you kept going, right? They'll pull you over for that, right? Hey, Shalom, Ya'el, Shalom, Ya'bashim Ya'shabrakatah, all right? And Shabbat Shalom. They will bust you in the head over a rolling stop, man. And nobody was there. You ever seen the cartoons when they come to the stoplight? Ain't nobody, they look this way, they look that way, ain't nobody there for miles, and it just stay red. And then when they decide to run it, like a truck come out of nowhere and run them off the road, it's like, yo, that's how law enforcement treats the laws of the land. They use the laws of the land to bust you over the head, when in reality, the spirit of the laws of the land was supposed to be to keep the people safe, right? The spirit of the law is to keep the people safe. If I did a rolling stop at the stop sign and kept moving, I'm not putting nobody in danger. So the spirit of the law is still fulfilled. Well, let's bring that same principle over to the law, statutes, and commandments. When the people were creating fires 2,000 years ago, matter of fact, before the invention of electricity, let's keep it real, you had to put in work to create a fire, right? Before the invention of the lighter. I forgot. My kids be telling me random facts all the time. And they showed me like the first lighter that was created, right? The invention of the lighter. Look at this. They attribute the invention of the lighter to a German guy, right? We don't know how true that is. But I believe it was the 19th century. It was the mid 19th century. I think it was around 1820 something, right? Something like that. Maybe different sources will give you different people or different timelines, but we're talking about within the last 200 years. Within the last 200 years, we see the invention of the lighter, where you can do this to get lighter or to get fire. You can do this. That's all the work you're doing. That's less work than brushing your teeth. That's less work than washing your face. But because Moses said, you shall not kindle a fire throughout your habitations, there are communities that take the Bible and say you can't flip on a light switch on the Sabbath. And there are communities who would prohibit you from using your heater, your hot water heater, because it has a pilot light. And there are communities who would bust you in the head with the letter of the law in their understanding to preserve the law and to keep the spirit of the law, but becoming unreasonable in doing so. So let me get a precept for you. Let's get Ecclesiastes 7:16. We don't want to become unreasonable in keeping the commandments, because the spirit of the law is why we're keeping the commandments. And this is the point of this lesson, right? This is the big idea. Ecclesiastes 7:16. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? The way we were taught this is this. How can you be too righteous? How can you be righteous over much? Because you're taking the letter of the law and you're literally in a box all day. You can't serve the Lord like that. Psalms 93 is the only psalm you can read on the Sabbath. That's it. It's the only one that says this is. And then now you can't even sing a new song to the Lord. Now the spirit can't even move you to just bust out and start singing an old gospel song your grandma used to sing. Now you can't do that no more. Why? Because this brother said Psalms 93 is the only psalm you can. Do you understand how quickly we can become unreasonable in our honest attempt to serve the Lord? But we can become unreasonable, right? We have brothers and sisters in law enforcement, man. We talk about law enforcement a lot, and we give them a bad name. We're going to get into it. Hey, we're going to get into it. Aratazai. Hey, Shalom, family. Shalom. And Maya Brooks, Shalom. And Keziah, if I didn't shout you out. I ain't see you in there. Shalom. So, ultimately, we can become Pharisaic in the letter of the law and miss the spirit of the law. So when we're dealing with kindling a fire, right? This verse kind of leaves us with no context. I would say this verse kind of leaves us with no context, because once you jump to verse 4, it says, and Moses spake unto the congregation of children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord commanded, right? And what is he talking about? He goes in to talk about offerings, right? He talks about the tabernacle. It kind of jumps to another thing. So the reason I'm bringing that out is this. Why did Moses tell the people not to kindle a fire? In the ancient days, before the invention of the lighter, so now we can just say 300 years ago, and everything before that, you had to do laborious work to create a fire. Y'all ever been, if you came to Tabernacles with SOT when we was in SOT 2 years ago, Adawan Ma'akiah showed us how to make fire, right? He showed us how to make a fire at Tabernacles. You got to rub the sticks together and create kindling, and then you got to go gather some more sticks and people chopping trees down. This is a lot of stuff that you got to do. You don't have to do that anymore because modern inventions have made it to where you can do this to start that fire. If you need to keep your family warm, if you need to burn some incense just so your house can smell good on the Shabbat, man. Right? Now I'm gonna show you some more precepts that indicate that it cannot just mean having a fire is evil on the Sabbath. I'm gonna show you that without a shadow of a doubt. Let's get Leviticus 24:1. If having a fire is evil, hey, that's right. That's right. So Ariah said that's work. Building a fire in the ancient days is work. Building a fire in the ancient days is work. And I'm gonna tell you something. Writing a song would actually be called work, according to the word melakah, which is used in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8. When you go into the word melakah, it's a very broad term. It can mean to create something. We see that used in Genesis chapter 2 when the Lord is creating the earth. He speaks a word, it becomes creation, and the Most High calls that work. And on the seventh day, he stops doing this type of work. So if he's using his words, that means you can't speak on the Sabbath. But we understand that that's not what that means, right? So we have to slow it down and examine the text. Let's look at Leviticus chapter 24 and verse 1. All right. Hold on. Salakia. Because the spirit of the Sabbath is to serve the Lord and to set the day apart. Hey, yo, that's a cut, man. There's more work going to camp than kindling a fire. That's a cut, man. Right? But and you know what? I'm going to bring this out. Certain Jewish communities will tell you, because they read the Torah and the Mishnah and the Talmud, they will tell you that you can't carry a sign over 5 steps on the Sabbath. And all of us have done that, setting up camp. They will tell you that because they feel like that's work. If you pick up that sign and carry it more than 5 steps or whatever the number is, you just perform work. Now, that's not in the Torah, but that's how they break it down. That's how they break the word work down, right? Let's go into this real quick. Leviticus, what I say? 24, 1 through 8. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure olive oil beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually. So, we talking about the golden lampstand in the tabernacle and in the temple. The menorah, without the veil of the testimony, right outside of the veil of the testimony, in the tabernacle of the congregation shall Aaron order it from evening until morning before the Lord continually. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations. Does this say except for on the Sabbath? La'ah. That candle, that menorah is burning 7 days a week forever until the temple get destroyed. And then when we rebuild it, we're going to relight the candle and it's going to burn forever again. Right? Let's keep reading. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. He shall order the lamps upon the pure candlestick before Yahweh continually. What else are we making on the Sabbath? Let's keep reading. Verse 5. And thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof. 2 tenth deals shall be in 1 cake. And thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on 1 row, upon the pure table before Yahweh. And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, even an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before Yahweh continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. The priest is baking cakes on the Sabbath, lighting the menorah on the Sabbath, continually burning incense in the tabernacle and in the temple every day and on the Sabbath. So a fire, a physical flame, is not illegal on the Sabbath. It can't be, because the Most High commanded your priests to do these things on the Sabbath, right? Let's jump over to Numbers 28, 9 and 10. Numbers 28, 9 and 10. It's all about the spirit of the law. Why are you cooking on the Sabbath? Now we getting into it. Are you cooking because you slack and you didn't prepare beforehand? Or are you cooking because this was actually the only opportunity you had? You was on a plane, your job had you flying somewhere this week. You was on a plane, you landed, and it's evening time, and you ran in the house, but you just couldn't get there in time, and now you got to prepare your food on the Sabbath. Who knows? Everybody's life different, but it's the spirit of the law. Hey, all praises to the Most High. Ariah said he loved 28. That's right. I was reading that one this week, man. I was like, yo, this is some heavy stuff. Right? Numbers 28, 9 and 10 says what? And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil and the drink offering thereof. This, pay attention to verse 10. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. There is an actual burnt offering set apart for the Sabbath day. So remember, I told you that them priests going to be doing work on the Sabbaths, right? The priest is going to be putting in work on the Sabbaths. So what type of work is prohibited and what type of work is not prohibited? Somebody who disagrees with the Bible and they want to try to prove that the Bible has contradictions, they may go here. They may say, your Bible says don't do any work on the Sabbath, and then right here it tells the priest to work. Aha, you see what I'm saying? That's how stupid the scoffers can be. But they're not in the spirit and they can't discern the spiritual things. We have to be able to discern the spiritual things and say, the spirit of the Sabbath is to serve the Lord. So if I'm doing work to serve the Lord, I am observing the Sabbath. It's that simple. That's why we can go to camp, because we are fulfilling the spirit of the law. All right. Chronicles 9 and 32. First Chronicles 9 and 32. I'm gonna get that one just to drive that point home real fast, and then we're gonna move to the next point. First Chronicles 9 and 32, Salakia. And other of their brethren of the sons of the Kohathites were over the showbread to prepare it every Sabbath. You see that? So just in case we was reading Numbers in Leviticus, and some people say, well, that's not as clear as I would like it. I think First Chronicles gives us a historical reference to prove that they was preparing these things on the Sabbath. All right? Hey, that's right. That's right, Benjamin. He said this is important because a lot of people, this lesson right here will cause a lot of people to fall out of the tree. And a lot of people will say, oh, these brothers, they'll let you do anything on the Sabbath. Some people will feel like that. And that's fine as well. I'm not here to change nobody's mind. I'm not here to tell you what to do on the Sabbath. I'm here to say that there is a spirit of every law, which is why the Bible says eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but it also says forgive your neighbor 70 times 7. Right? So if we're gonna take these laws and be, if I'm gonna kill everybody who I see not keeping the Sabbath, the way I think they should be keeping it, then I'm not giving Israel a chance to repent. Right? There's a spirit of the law. That's why we teach repentance. Brothers, come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why we teaching it like that, instead of going out there with stones and killing people. Right? Not to mention we in captivity, but I would extend to you that even in even in our land, right? Nehemiah was putting hands on people, but he wasn't killing them. Notice that. Y'all gotta notice that. Israel be having the spirit, I want to kill other Israelites for not doing these laws. Nehemiah wasn't doing that. Nehemiah was like, yo, I'm put hands on you. You're going to serve the Lord. Matter of fact, y'all, close the gate. That's how Nehemiah was rocking with it. But us, we want to kill everybody. Right? Because we don't understand the spirit of the law. Let's keep rolling. Leviticus 25 and 2. Right? I'm not going to drag this out too long. I'm going to actually hit I'm gonna roll through these last precepts, and then we're gonna make the ultimate point with a couple of other precepts, right? So let's roll through these. Leviticus 25 and 2. Once again, if y'all have any questions or any comments, definitely put them in there, and I'll try my best to address them. Because this is a difficult topic to teach. Leviticus 25 and 2 reads, "Speak unto the children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord." So guess what? Your land has to keep the Sabbath as well. All right? You work for 6 years on the land, and the 7th year, you allow the land to enjoy a Sabbath. But that 6th year, you better been storing up. You better have your storehouses full. You know what I mean? You got to have something set aside so you can still keep the Levites eating. It's a process behind that, but ultimately the land had to keep a Sabbath, right? And then we understand that the Jubilee is going to be 7 of those Sabbaths, 7 of those land Sabbaths. Then the very next year is the Jubilee, the 50th year. All right. That's another lesson. Nehemiah 10 and 31. That's right. Preparation is key. Preparation is key. Let's get Nehemiah 10 and 31. This is the one that brothers go to. 10 and 31. This is the one that brothers go to for buying and selling on the Shabbat, right? And I'll kind of go into this just a little bit. Hey, Shalom, Sister El Israel Issachar, Shalom. I don't think I shouted you out yet. All right. Nehemiah 10 and 31. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, that we would leave the 7th year and the exaction of every debt. So we kind of go into this. We went into this with the brothers in the camp. This is how we're going to answer this. Our position, although there is not a law in the 5 books that says you cannot buy or sell on the Sabbath, this is the reasoning that we will take. Nehemiah is a prophet sent by the Most High God. Nehemiah has an understanding that I will never have. Nehemiah has wisdom and stature that I will never have. I'm going to listen to Nehemiah. Nehemiah said, in the spirit, written in the page, right? Nehemiah said that when the people of the land bring ware and victuals on the Sabbath day, we will not buy and sell. Therefore, we will not buy and sell. Now, once again, there's a spirit to this law. You driving on your way back from camp, or you at your house minding your business. Your kitchen catch on fire. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it don't catch on fire. Let's use a different example. A tree falls on your house. You're not going to get your family out of there safely. And if you got to purchase gas and purchase a hotel room for y'all to stay in, you're not going to do that. Like, spirit of the law, Israel. Spirit of the law. Nah, we're going to be homeless and we're going to serve the Lord in sincerity and truth. We're going to be homeless for 24 hours because we can do that. That's the least we can do for the Lord. It's like, yo, I understand, but why should you destroy yourself? I think we understand that. I'm not going to drive that home. Let's get some things that can be done on the Sabbath. Let's get Psalms 92, 1 through 3. Let's get some things that can be done on the Sabbath. It says, Psalms 92, 1 through 3, "It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahweh and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound." So guess what? It is a good thing to sing praises to the Lord. You a songwriter? Me personally, I would not say you can't sing songs on the Sabbath. You cannot write songs on the Sabbath. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Especially if that song, well, let me verify how I say this. I would not tell you it's unlawful to write songs on the Sabbath. That's what I would say. I would not tell you it's unlawful to write songs on the Sabbath. Primarily songs of praise to the Most High God and truth music and things like that. I would not say that you are going off by doing that, right? Because this scripture right here says to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night, right? So that's important to me, all right? Baziah Judah, Shalom, Shalom, right? Every night. That means every day. We talking about every day, right? So, and upon an instrument of 10 string, like you using instruments now too, right? That's not evil to do because ultimately the spirit of the Sabbath is to be standing before the Most High, worshiping Him and bringing His praises to the east gate, man, right? As we read in Ezekiel. Let's get Matthew chapter 12 and verse 10. This is one that a lot of us go to dealing with healing on the Sabbath. And I would extend this same thought process to going to camp because that's what we doing at camp is we healing people. All the brothers and all the sisters that's at camp right now, Most High willing, y'all be protected. And the Most High keep y'all safe, man. No matter what camp, what affiliation you with. If you preaching Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, the Most High be with you, right? Because you're setting yourself upon the work of healing your people. Well, let's read this. Matthew 12 and 10. Oh, I'm in the wrong chapter. Matthew 12 and 10. And it reads, and behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. And they asked him, they meaning the Pharisees, saying, is it lawful to heal a man on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him. And he said unto them, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold of it and lift it out? How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbaths. Once again, another example of the letter of the law and our people using it to crush the people. Don't use the letter of the law to crush the people. That's not what the law is for. The law is supposed to give you life. The law is supposed to give you freedom and liberty, right? If we're gonna use the law in that way, it's no wonder that so many of our Christian brothers and sisters don't want to come to the law because they feel like it's a bondage system, right? They feel like it's a bad thing to be dealing with the law because we got to yield it properly, right? Matthew 12 and 10, and then that goes into this. There was a law in the Torah that tells the people exactly what Yahweh Shah quoted. That is a Torah law. Hey, Shalom Naphtali, Shalom Yahweh Shem Yahweh, right? He said they think it's rabbinic Judaism, right? And some people, right? So some scholars definitely point that out, that they believe that the Pharisees were practicing rabbinic Judaism in accordance with oral traditions and levying laws and statutes on the people that were more customary than they were Torah based, right? And so that would leave us in a situation of putting tradition above the laws of God. And they did it, once again, these Pharisees did it with the best intentions in heart. I believe that. I believe their intention was this. This is how you properly keep the Sabbath. This is the only way you can know how to properly keep the Sabbath. But the thing is, because you got that understanding, you cannot put that on other people as if it's sin if they don't see it that way. Because sinning is breaking the Torah. That's it. It's not breaking the customs or the traditions of man, right? So we got to understand that, right? Deuteronomy 22 and 4, Exodus 23 and 4 are the two passages that Hamashiach Yahushua was referencing when he said, will a man lift a sheep out of the ditch, right? Those are the two passages he's referencing. Let me see what the sister said. She said, the Most High intends to, I don't think the Most High intends to oppress us more than we are already oppressed. That's right. When I started preparing on the Sabbath, then wrapping up food, it felt freeing. Hey, and I will say this, man. I do want to see this. We do need to utilize the preparation day as much as possible. right? Because we want to leave the Sabbath free for the service of the Lord and all the things that come with that. So we do want to do that. We want to use that preparation day as much as possible, but we understand that we in captivity, which I'm gonna go into. That's my final point. We are in captivity and we are doing the best we can. And so to see somebody doing the best they can and they killing themselves to do the best they can, and then some of their preparation bleeds over into the Sabbath, and you come out of nowhere and bust them over the head with the letter of the law, that's madness. That's madness, right? Let's get Mark 1 and 21. Right? This is another one that people need to see in order to understand what we do on the Sabbath days. And we can also look at the book of Acts and see Paul doing this so that we can have comfort in the scriptures. Mark 1 and 21. And they went into Capernaum, and straight forth on the Sabbath day, he entered into a synagogue and taught. So Hamashiach Yahushua is going into the synagogue and teaching on the Sabbath day. There's nothing wrong with teaching on the Sabbath day. We see Paul doing it over and over again. We know that the Pharisees was doing it, and we know that whoever the leaders and the scholars were of that day, they were definitely teaching in on the Sabbath days, right? So there can be no prohibition against that. The scripture also tells you to speak about these laws in the Shema, Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6 through I think 9 and 10. But it says, speak about it when you rise up, when you lie down, when you walk by the way. So everywhere you go, the law, statutes, and commandments is conversing and at the tip of your mind. Right? All right, let's keep going. Hey, I want to bring this one out. I haven't heard anybody bring this out. Not to say it hasn't been, but I haven't heard it. And I came across this week. This is John chapter 7 and 21. John chapter 7 and 21. Sister Abaya said, that's right. Have to focus on going before the Most High with a contrite and circumcised heart. That's funny you said circumcised. As opposed to focusing on the customs of men. That's right. All praises to the Most High. Right? Look at this. John chapter 7 and 21 reads this. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, I have done one work. Now remember, we're speaking about working on the Sabbath. I have done one work, and you all marvel. Did Yahushua say, what I'm doing is not considered work? He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He said, I've done one work. So Yahushua is telling you right here, I did a work on the Sabbath. That's what he just said. Let's keep reading. Verse 21. I have done one work, and you all marvel. Moses therefore gave you circumcision, not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers. And you on the Sabbath day circumcise a man. Cut. You perform circumcisions on the 8th day, correct? Sometimes it's a Sabbath day when you do that, correct? Cut. You performing circumcisions on the Sabbath. If a man on the Sabbath day receives circumcision that the law of Moses should not be broken, are you angry at me because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day? Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. That's what the whole lesson is about. Stop judging people according to your appearance and what you see through your eyes. Judge it according to the spirit of the law. Christ just said, I did do a work on the Sabbath, but don't you circumcise people on the Sabbath? Yo, this will cut to everybody in the room. If you ever told somebody that working on the Sabbath, if you busting somebody in the head, I can't believe they're doing that on the Sabbath. If you ever said that to somebody, check this out. It's possible to have a baby on the Sabbath. You don't control when that baby is born. And ask any woman who's had a birth, natural or C-section, is that work? Is that work? That's some hard work. Yo, I believe my rib was in labor for like 9 hours or something crazy like that. Like, we talking about, it's women who be in labor for 9, 10, 11, 14 hours, man. They call it in labor. They call it in labor, right? That work must be done. If the Sabbath, if it's the Sabbath or not, the baby coming out, bro. That's all it is to it. So y'all gotta chill. All right? Y'all gotta chill, understand the spirit of the law. And guess what? I hope, I pray that if any one of you is a doula or you got the credentials to help deliver a baby, and somebody having a baby on the Sabbath day, bro, and you just sitting over there like, it's the Sabbath. You know what I mean? Hey, Shalom, Yashawan, y'all Bashim Yashabakata. Y'all be safe out there today, King. So, hey, would you really do that? A woman's having birth, you're gonna tell her, I can't help you. Today's the Sabbath. Come on, man. This is what we be talking about. This is the reason why we still in this captivity, because our people is over righteous. There you go. Sister Issachar said it at the same time. All right. Now, I want to bring this out. Well, I don't even need that precept. It's Genesis 17, 11 through 13. The reason that Christ says that Moses did not give you circumcision, but the fathers, is because he's talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We know that that promise was given to Abraham, pursuant to Genesis 17 and 11. We don't even need that. Let's jump over to Acts 1 and 12. I got like 3 more precepts and we're going to close this thing out. All right. I appreciate y'all's participation so far. All right. Acts 1 and 12. And it reads, Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. Now, whoever the scribe was that wrote this down, we believe it's Luke. That person said that there's a such thing as a Sabbath day's journey. Y'all put it in the chat. Where's the Sabbath day's journey notated in the Bible? Where's that? I know y'all know. Y'all got all the precepts. Where's the Sabbath day's journey in the Bible? Hey, the brother in here, man. Shalom, Mark. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, King. I just had a precept, man.
Con, let's get it.
Because you was talking about practicalities pretty much.
That's right.
And, you know, the letter of the law that you was talking about being in captivity, you might having to work for Esau, you getting off, trying to run to the crib, run to the store real quick, right? And you got people that will say, yo, you're not going to make it, right? You're not going to make it because you didn't do it like X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get Matthew 23 if you haven't brought this out already. Okay, come. When we start at verse 1, it says, Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Here's the point. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. So they bind these burdens on these people, grievous to be borne. Hey, yo, listen, if you get off on Friday night at 9 p.m., the sun is down, you don't have no food in your house, you can't eat tomorrow.
Right.
Don't feed your family. Your kids on their last diaper, you might have forgot. She gonna have a boo-boo diaper until the sun go down.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Right? And these people, these same people, will not move one. They won't even, if they knew you was in need and they hit you with that same doctrine, they won't come to your house and bring your family food.
That's a fact.
Them same people will not do that, right? It says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at the feast, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. So these same people, they love everything that comes with being an Israelite teacher, right? They want to be called Adawan.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? They want free stuff at all the feast days. Yo, brother, I made you this. You know, thank you for what you do. All that. They love that part. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Shema used to do the same thing, bro. They're about to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They love to be called teacher. You You know what I'm saying? Elder, y'all, doggone, Ottawa, all these
Yeah, that's
different
right.
things. They love to be called all these different things, right? And they love to have the uppermost seats at the feast day. They want to be at the end of the table. They want to have the chief seats. You know what I'm saying? They got to have the highest garment with the longest fringes. All these different things, right? But they put these burdens on these people and will never lift a finger to take a burden off the people if they had the opportunity. So we gotta listen to what the brother is teaching and be practical. You know what I'm saying? Without understanding in these scriptures, the most I know we in captivity.
That's
You
right.
know, we supposed to do it to the best of our ability. We can't use captivity as an excuse. But being that some brothers and sisters might get off late, or some things might not be in their favor to where they can do everything perfectly, that's where the grace comes into play and us rehearsing these righteous acts.
That's right. Hey, I appreciate that. All praises to the Most High. And that's right, man. You know, we gotta maintain that the spirit of the law is more important than busting somebody over the head with the letter of the law and crushing them under that law, man. Right? The law is used to raise the poor and the humbled of our people to a higher estate. That's what the law is for. Right? The law is supposed to show the nations that we are the most wisest people, right? Because we keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So I'm gonna show you this one. This Acts 1:12. I see none of y'all precepts came out. Y'all brothers is whack, man. Terrible. On the Sabbath day, can't pull a precept to prove that there's a Sabbath day's journey. Y'all ain't got no precepts. But you know what? Honestly, it ain't no precept because it's a customary thing. A Sabbath day's journey. When did Moses tell you you cannot walk past this distance on the Sabbath day? Moses ain't tell you that. But the people came up with that in order to, in their mind, preserve the sanctity of the Sabbath. And they said, listen, you know, if you walk past this distance, you're now in violation. And it wasn't necessarily something that had to be in stone, but the spirit of that law was that you don't do too much on the Sabbath, right? Well, let's read. So this was Mark 1:21. I dropped it. Hold on. This was Mark 1:21. Or no, I'm sorry, not Mark. This is Acts 1:21. 1:12. Y'all bear with me. Calling the wrong precept. Acts 1:12. Let me put this on the screen. There you go. All right. So it says what? Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room where abode both Peter, James, John, Andrew, Philip, Thomas, Bartholomew, Matthew, James, the son of Alphaeus, and Simon Zelotes, and Judas, the brother of James. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the woman and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brethren. All right. So the only reason I even brought that out is to show you that there was a custom during the time of our forefathers that did not exist in the Torah. There's a lot of instances like this. And the people did this to preserve the sanctity of the Sabbath. But if you was to come up to a man and say, yo, you surpassed the Sabbath day's journey, you can't do that. You can't come up and tell me that because there's no law. That's your tradition. That's your custom. You're doing that because you're trying to help. But at the same time, you can't tell me I'm in sin for that. Because where there is no law, there's no transgression. All right? I hope y'all understand that. Let's get this next one. Harvesting on the Sabbath. Luke chapter 6 and verse 1. Luke chapter 6 and verse 1, and it reads, and it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first, that he went through the cornfields, and his disciples plucked the ears of corn and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. Now, it has been said by some that this corn is the corn you think of today, like the yellow corn, with it grows up on the stalk. It most likely was not that type of corn. That corn is not organic. It does not grow on its own. You need to have humans to cultivate the land a certain type of way, or to you have to have humans there to make sure that type of corn grows, right? It has to be harvested. It has to be taken care of a certain type of way. Wheat, on the other hand, is another word used for corn. And notice that it says rubbing it in their hands. Because when you grab an ear of wheat, you can do this to break it apart. And then you can eat it. That's the type of work that can be done here. So you can do your own historical research on that. Me personally, I believe that corn they were talking about there is wheat. Okay? That's what I believe. But let's read it. It says, boom, 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 verse 2. And certain of the Pharisees said unto them, why do ye that which is not lawful on the Sabbath days? Question. When did the scripture say you can't do this? When did the scripture say you can't rub it in your hands? What he's referencing is Exodus 34 and 21. Let's get that. Exodus 34 and 21. And it reads, 6 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day thou shalt rest. In earing time and in harvest you shall rest. So when it's time to when it's time for harvest and you going to try to pluck something, or you're trying to sow, you're trying to reap, whatever, you can't do that. You got to rest. You understand? Sabbath is Sabbath. It don't matter what time of the year it is. It don't matter what your crops look like. I don't care. Rest. So they try to use this against Hamashiach Yahushua, but let's see what Yahushua said back. Right? Let's go back to Luke 6, and let's start at verse 3. And Yahushua answered them and said, how have you not read so much as this, what David did when himself was an hungered, and they were with him, and they which were with him, how he went into the house of God, and did take and eat the showbread, and gave also to them that were with him, which it is not lawful to eat, but for the priest alone. This is a cut. Hamashiach is telling you that David did something that directly goes against the words of the Torah. But it was okay when he did it, because there's a spirit of the law. I need y'all to understand this, man. Yo, the only way that we can have righteous judgment is understanding the spirit of the law. Do that mean that, just like the brother said, do that mean that, oh, I'm in captivity, the Most High understand? No, he don't understand. You better prepare beforehand. It better be a situation where this was the only way I could have done it. Preparing this food right here on the Sabbath, or cleaning up the rest of taking this, doing whatever I gotta do, putting gas in my car, grabbing some snacks for my kids from the store. That it better literally be the only way it could be done. I prepared beforehand. I did as much as I could, but I got paid this morning, and I have zero food in the house. I must go to the store. The Most High will see that and say, this brother didn't want to spend that money. And then you in the store like this. Boo, boo, bringing stuff up, and you got your head low, man. You feel bad, man. The Most High is going to look at that differently than if you just like, hey, I can do whatever I want on the Sabbath. And then you just doing your thing. Don't come with that spirit. It's the spirit of the law. All right. Now let's drop that. Let's get these last two precepts. Romans 12 and 3. Romans 12 and 3. And we're going to hit one more and close it down. All right. All praises to the Most High. Romans 12 and 3 says, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt to every man the measure of faith. You need to think soberly according to the measure of faith that the Most High gave you. If it's a violation to spend money when you absolutely must on the Sabbath, don't do it. Why? Because you have to serve the Lord according to the measure of your faith. I would never tell you to go against what your spirit is telling you. The only thing I'm telling, and I would never tell you to go against what the book says. But I will say this. There have been instances where the book said, don't do it, and people did it, and the Lord was still dealing with them. Right? And the example we're going to use is David. When he stepped in there and he ate the showbread, we can show you the precept that says no strength, nobody other than these Levites can eat this. And David is not a Levite. So we see that. But it was the spirit of the law. And the priest that was there, he didn't put up a big fight, did he? The priest that was there was like, I don't have nothing but the showbread. And then he gave it to him. You see what I'm saying? I believe it was Abiathar. Somebody put that in the chat. If you remember the name of the priest that was there. Can't remember who it was. So move in the spirit of the law, right? And we're going to be able to, see, there you go. Zephaniah said, can you warm food in a microwave on the Shabbat? We live in a day and time where I can go to Walmart and get me a meal ready to eat and pop it in the microwave and hit the 2 button and walk away. And pull it out and it's hot, it's ready to go. Guess what? It didn't require fire. We got air fryers. Ahimelech, that's who it was. Ahimelech, the water king. I knew it started with an A. So food in the microwave and food in the air fryer doesn't even require fire. Do you see that? It don't even require a fire to heat that up. But there are some who would say, you can't do that. And guess what? If that's what they teaching you, you know what I'm saying? Women, if your husband is telling you don't do that, don't do it. Don't listen to me. What you listen to me for? I ain't your husband. I'm just telling you that there's a spirit of the law. You listen to your husband first, right? Whatever your husband says in your household, that's what's going to happen. That's what needs to happen. Or you are in violation of that law. But as far as how I understand it and how we're going to teach it as AHOS, we're just saying be practical and understand there's a spirit of the law. All right, let's get this last verse. And this last verse encapsulates the entire lesson. So if you haven't seen nothing else, you need to see this part, right? You need to see this part. This is the precept that ties everything together. All right. Let's see what she said. She said, okay, so she posted the verse, right? 1 Samuel chapter 21 and verse 6. So the priest gave him hallowed bread, but there was no bread there but the showbread. The reason it says hallowed is because it's set apart to the Most High and to the Levites. That's it. Nobody else can have it. That was taken from before Yahweh to put hot bread in the day when it was taken away. And remember, we read the precept about the priest baking that on the Sabbath. That's why it's hot bread, because it's fresh. So that means David showed up on the Sabbath. You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to be practical. We have to be practical. All right. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 1. Let me show you something that encapsulates everything we read. These are the statutes and judgments which you shall observe to do in the land which Yahweh your power of thy fathers giveth thee to possess it, all the days that you live upon the earth. You shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. And you shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And you shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. You shall not do so unto the Lord thy God. So you can't worship me the way that they was worshiping them. Destroy all their stuff. Remember, he started off by saying, when you come into the land, watch this. But unto the place which Yahweh your God shall choose out of all your tribes, we know that was in Judah, to put his name there, we know that was in Jerusalem, even unto his habitation shall you seek, and thither shall you come. And thither shall you bring your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices, and your tithes, and your offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your freewill offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there you shall eat before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice in all that you have put your hand to do, or unto, you and your households wherein the Lord your God hath blessed thee. You shall not do after all the things that we do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. Let me pause there for a moment and give you the context. The children of Israel are traveling throughout the wilderness. They are not yet in the land. They are traveling through. They have not come into the land of rest yet. And the Lord said, when you come into the land, there's going to be one central place of worship. There's going to be one central place for sacrifices. There's going to be one central place that you're going to serve the Lord. Every other place, you're not going to be able to do it. But think about it. If you have a moving city that's moving throughout the wilderness, there's no one central place. Right now, we worship in the Lord here. Next month, we worship in the Lord there. 6 months from now, we worship in the Lord there. You understand? They're traveling. So there was no centrality of worship. There was no central worship place. That's where we find ourselves today. There is no central worship place. You don't have a place to take your offerings. You don't have a place to go to and bring your sacrifices to the Most High. You don't have a place where the showbread is being set up, because we are in a place where we are traveling through before we get to our rest. But let's keep reading, right? And right now, every man is doing that which is right in his own eyes. This man keeping the Sabbath on Thursday, he's doing it to the best of his ability. That man's keeping the Sabbath according to the moon, but he's doing it according to the best of his ability in the faith that was given unto him. This man is keeping the Sabbath on Saturday, Friday night to Saturday night sundown, because that's what he's doing, and he's doing it to the best of his ability, and he's doing it according to the measure of faith that was given unto him. Now we're going to read down through verse 9. This part applies to you right now. This part applies to all of us right now. Verse 9, for you are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Lord your God giveth you. But when you go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God giveth you to inherit, and when he giveth you rest from all your enemies, which we don't have yet, so that you dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall you bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices, and your tithes, and your heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow unto the Lord. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you and your sons, and your daughters, and your manservants, and your maidservants, and the Levite that is within your gates, for as much as he have no part nor inheritance with you. So I want you to focus on this. We are still waiting to get to the land of our rest. It's going to be times when your Sabbath is going to be profaned, as we read in the precept earlier. It's going to be times, Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13, where you're going to be eating your bread defiled amongst the Gentiles. But you know what? You're going to serve the Lord in sincerity and truth. And you're gonna earnestly desire that he brings you back to the land that he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he's going to accept that, right? Because he told you these things was going to happen before they happened. He did this to punish us, but not to destroy us, right? So, hey, all praises to the Most High. Y'all move in the spirit of the law. Y'all enjoy y'all Sabbath. We love y'all. All right. And yeah, that's going to be it. Shalom.
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin.